Good evening, everyone, and thank you for being present for this update regarding the task force work on the plan for reopening. It's our honor and privilege of being here tonight to present for you. Terry Barrier, Harry Hunter, and I are providing the update on behalf of the task force. And Patsy, I think we agree with you that we hope the reopening will come before the rapture. But before we begin our presentation, we would like to start with something that Laura Keller uses to open Friday midday prayer. Or if you would please join us as we center our minds and our hearts.
Be still and know that I am God.
Be still and know that I am.
Be still and know.
Be still.
Be.
The work of this task force is critical, and due to the ever-changing nature and impact of this virus, the task force is meeting weekly. So we'd ask you to please remember this group as you pray. Our meetings are on Thursday evenings. We also want you to know that we are blessed to have 3 medical professionals on the task force: Harry Hunter, Jamie Luckett, and Jackie Wooten. Their experience and insight help guide our discussions and bring our data into focus for us. So we're truly blessed to have them as part of our team. And one thing that we've learned is that it is important that we, the task force, and we, the church, must have the courage to make tough decisions. We know that churches around us have begun to open, but as we observe the data, that does not seem to be the prudent course of action for Royal Lane at this time. The quiet voice of reason must prevail. Reverend Mayo on Sunday reminded us that we are commanded to love. One of the greatest acts of love at this time is to stay the course until the data show that it is safe to gather again. Keep me ready to help others at some cost to myself was a line from the prayer that Max voiced on Sunday. So it is an act of love to do what is necessary to keep one another safe and stop the spread. So let's review. How does COVID-19 spread? Jamie and Melissa shared with this slide with you back at the June in Focus session. Something we know now that we didn't know then is that singing and talking also send the droplets containing the virus into the air. And it's also more apparent now that those who are asymptomatic are unknowingly spreading the virus to others. The impact of this virus continues to unfold. If you've been following the data at all, you know that the trajectory is still on an upward rise. And today it's down a little bit from what it was yesterday, but it's still up there in the stratosphere. So let's take a look at the data for a moment. This is data from the Texas State and Health Department. And here it is from back in March, if you'll remember, and this is Dallas County. And if you'll notice, back on May 25th, when we were at Memorial Day, all of a sudden the data started, we switched to Texas real fast there for some reason. Hang on, let me get us back to Dallas. Okay, back to Dallas. So the trend line has steadily been going up since Memorial Day. And so you have to remember that in someone who was exposed on Memorial Day, it could be up to 2 weeks before they see that they have the virus. So we watch this trend just continue. So whatever happens today, we won't see for maybe 2 weeks. So it's important that we remember that this data is fluid and that it's ever moving and ever changing. And we have to be aware of that and be ready to do what is necessary to keep ourselves safe. So the data, this data that I just showed you is on our website on the homepage. If you look under COVID updates, that's where you can find it. But know that these data are significant indicators for consideration in determining the appropriate timing for our return to worship.
Harry.
Oh, excuse me, yes. Well, for online worshiping, returning to worship, certainly online, we will continue to offer online services for the foreseeable future. Because even when we do open, there may be some folks who are at high risk and may choose to stay home and view the live stream instead of coming in person. When we do open, it'll be sanctuary only, dependent upon the number of new cases in Dallas, Ellis and Collin and Denton counties. And the trend line must stabilize to be moving or a consistent downward trajectory, as Kathy said. And really we're looking at, we need to get to a 14-day decline in trajectory before we even consider coming back to in-person worship. Children and youth buildings, we are not currently planning the opening date at this time. That'll be after the sanctuary, and we see how that goes. And we need to monitor the number of new cases related to school opening in the fall. The CDC guidelines for communities of faith is quite extensive, and I haven't included everything here, but most of the things that apply to us. Church activities and operations, certainly we are looking at establishing and maintaining communications with the local and state and CDC authorities on a regular basis. We're monitoring that, as Kathy said. Safety actions, we're encouraging the staff and the congregation to maintain good hygiene, hand washing, washing your hands with soap and water for at least 20 seconds. And certainly then we want to have adequate supplies and healthy hygiene behaviors, including adequate soap and hand sanitizer with at least 60% alcohol, and tissues, and no-touch trash cans. We are encouraging the staff and congregants to cover coughs and sneezes with a tissue or use the inside of their elbow. Used tissue should be thrown in the trash and then the hands washed, certainly. We're considering posting signs on how to stop the spread of COVID-19 and how to promote everyday protective measures, such as washing your hands, covering the coughs, sneezes, and properly wearing your face covering. In terms of cloth face coverings, we want to encourage the use of them for the staff and congregants. Face coverings should not be placed on children younger than 2 years of age because they can suffocate. In cleaning and disinfecting, we'll be cleaning and disinfect frequently touched surfaces, at least daily. And we want to avoid the use of items that are not easily cleaned and sanitized or disinfected. Certainly, we want to continue promoting social distancing when we come back together and limiting the size of gatherings and promoting social distancing. And Kathy and Terry will go over that with you later in the presentation on seating in the sanctuary and so on. We need to provide physical guidelines such as tape on the floors, and we already have that in place. Signs on the walls to ensure the staff and children remain at least 6 feet apart. And we are taking steps to minimize community sharing of worship materials and other items, and I'll address that in a few minutes in a little more deeper depth. We need to consider temporarily limiting the sharing of frequently touched items, such as worship aids, prayer books, hymnals, religious texts, and books and things of that nature. And we certainly, they advise us to modify the methods used to receive financial contributions. Consider a stationary collection box, or certainly you can text your giving online, or you can do an automatic check from your bank account, or you can mail it to the church, either way. We discourage the use of shaking hands or hugging or kissing among members of our church, our congregation. And CDC advises that if food is offered at any event, consider prepackaged options and avoid buffet or family-style meals. So when we get to the point of opening Vickery Hall down the road, that we'll have to address that in more detail. nursery or childcare, washing hands often with soap and water is essential, and the use of alcohol-based hand sanitizers is appropriate, but with at least 60% alcohol, but we need to be careful. Remember to supervise young children when they are using hand sanitizer to prevent them from swallowing the alcohol. We'll be cleaning and disinfecting frequently touched surfaces. And remember to do not put your masks on babies or children under the age of 2. And we need to require sick children and staff to stay home. Next slide. Minimizing touch points, as I mentioned earlier, one of the things we're talking about, we're looking at the possibility of automatic soap dispensers in the bathrooms and automatic towel dispensers. And all of the touch surfaces will be sanitized or sprayed with we're using a pine-based cleaning solution, which has been approved by our cleaning supplier. We'll be spraying door handles, sinks, urinals, and tabletops and everything. And in the sanctuary, the pew back cushions and book racks will all be sprayed, and the solution will be left on the surface for at least 10 minutes, and then it will be wiped clean. Hard surface floors are sprayed with, or are mopped with the cleaning solution thoroughly and with a disinfectant solution, and all carpets are thoroughly vacuumed. And please remember when you enter the sanctuary to use hand sanitizer and to wear your mask. Terry, I think you're up next.
Awesome. Thank you, Harry. We're going to discuss the seating since we're starting in the sanctuary with opening. But before you can get into the sanctuary, there are a few things you need to know. When we are safely able to worship together again, we will park in the east parking lots close to the Hillcrest and Royal Lane intersection. We suggest using the main sanctuary entrance on the south, but if you want to or need to use the east entrance, which is the Hillcrest side with easier accessibility, that entrance will be open as well. No other entrances will be used so that we can provide the safety measures needed at a minimum number of entrances. And as you enter, you will see floor markers to help remind you of physical distancing. With distancing in mind, if you enter the main entrance on the south side, you're just going to come in using the center aisle. But if you come in the east entrance with the accessibility, you're going to come into the sanctuary via the window aisles. For the safety of everyone attending, we're asking congregants to wear face masks. And as you enter, you'll be greeted by your friends wearing protective gear, pumping hand sanitizer into your hands, and offering you a face mask if you don't have one. If you do receive a face mask, you just keep it and you can use it when you return each week. When looking for a place to sit, you'll notice on the chart, X's are going to mark the spots where people will be asked to sit. You probably won't be able to sit in your regular location. The choir, for instance, won't be sitting in the loft. However, just come in and look for a grouping of pre-placed orders of worship, which closely matches the number in your group. So if you come in as a single, look for placement of 1 to 2 bulletins. If you're a group of 3 or 4 people, look for 3 to 4 bulletins grouped together in one pew. If you have 5 or more people in your group, we will prepare ahead for you since you will have already registered for however many people you will bring that day. And Kathy will go over registration in a bit. Right now, let's see a video.
Bulletins will be placed on the pews to indicate where congregants may sit. They are placed to meet the health guidelines for proper physical distancing. If you are in a party of 1 or 2 people, look for pews where 2 bulletins have been placed. If you are in a party of 3, look for pews where 3 or 4 bulletins have been placed together. If you are in a party of 5 or more people, your pre-registration will have indicated that already, and we will have a place prepared for you. In order to stop the spread, the water cooler in the hallway will not be available for use. So the best advice is to bring your own bottled water. The communion elements are individually wrapped and will be placed on the bulletins ready for use. There's a gluten-free option for those who need that. And when you take the element, upon direction, you'll open up the wafer, and then the second opening will be for the juice. And there you are. We will be given direction in the worship on when and how to take the elements.
Okay, good morning. We're showing Terry here, who is getting ready to be able to serve people as they come in. Notice that she's put on her face mask. She's wearing gloves. It's very important for us that everybody feel comfortable that we're taking every precaution that we can to make you safe in this environment. We're also going to be wearing face shields as a secondary precaution, and we will be dispensing the hand sanitizer so that we will be minimizing the touch points in the church.
So just to recap quickly on the communion, we have single serve elements as shown in the video and on this slide, and the gluten-free wafer will also be available. So if you opt for the gluten-free, you simply won't open the top portion of the wafer cup combination, which has the regular wafer. So during the worship, we'll be directed on how and when we will share and take the elements. Now, here's Kathy.
Okay, so when the determination is made that we should return to worship, physical distancing will be in place, as Terry has said. And physical distancing obviously limits the capacity of the sanctuary. So a registration process has been designed so that people can register to attend. On your screen, you see this is actually the home page of the website, and you see the button that says register for worship. Well, actually, this isn't the homepage of the website. It's a mock-up, but this is how it will look. So when it's time for us to open church and we have to come in and register to attend, then you will come into the website and you will click that button to register for the service. When you do, it will take you, and we have this little screen that comes up all the time. It will take you to this screen where it tells you what day and what time. Notice I made a mock-up. So tomorrow night, there's supposedly going to be a service at 7. I don't think there is one. Anyway, the attendance limit is 82 to meet physical distancing at this time. But we also want to be sure that you're aware of the requirements for in-person worship. It's the mask, the sanitizer, the physical distancing, sit in the designated seats, and have no COVID-19 symptoms, and they're all listed there for you. And we also want to reiterate that there are underlying health conditions that are at higher risk. So if you have any of these, you might want to pause and think, is it time for me to come back yet? Could be safe for you to come back, but it may be that you want to wait a little longer. But whatever the case, we'll have live stream worship. For whatever reason, you can't attend worship in person, whether there are too many people requesting that week, or whether you're ill, or just whatever it is, we will still have the live stream. And so then you'll just click on the register button if you're wanting to register. And another little screen, of course, pops up. If you've already logged in to E360, then you'll simply come up here and click on please log in first, and you'll click the login button. And it will probably ask you for your credentials, but I'm logged in and I say, keep me logged in. So now it's pre-filled all my information, except for the last 2 digits of my zip code. I don't know why it keeps omitting that because it is in E360. So you'll see that it populates everything. If any of those fields are blank, except for address 2, it will give you a message at the top in red and tell you you must complete this field before you can continue. But what if you don't have your log on to E360? Or what if it doesn't work? You can simply type all of that data in and you can still register, because think about it. If a visitor comes online and they want to come to our church on a Sunday and they need to register, they don't have an E360 account, so they can simply enter their information. And then when you click continue, it takes you to this screen. You're registering for this event. I do wish it would say the date. So I'm going to talk to E360 about that so you know what event you're registering for. But notice it says guest, excluding yourself, because when you put your information in, it is counting you already. And so you only list the number of people who will be attending with you. So if I'm coming by myself, Carol's not available that Sunday, I would put 0 because I'm coming alone. It's already counting me. So my entry would be a 0. If Carol's coming with me, my entry would be 1, and it's going to count 2 people. If I'm bringing a visitor and Carol, then I would enter 2. So get the idea, it's -1 of your entire group because you're already counted. If you need special seating or some sort of special accommodation, you can leave us a note and we'll get that in before this Sunday and we'll be able to accommodate your needs. So then once you enter your number, and I'm just going to enter 0 and click continue, it will tell me that I've successfully registered, or there are not enough seats, or there are no seats. The event is already full. For example, if you're registering for a party of 5, Charlotte Sewell, then, and it says there are only 3 seats available, that means you can't register all 5 of your family. So either 3 of you can come and 2 will stay home, or you may opt for the whole family to stay home that week. But just know it's going to give you some sort of message up there at the beginning so that you'll know what has happened. Now, what happens if you register and then all of a sudden you find out you can't come? Well, you don't want a seat to go unused where somebody else might be interested in attending. So you would come right back to this registration page. You again would put in your information. And I'm going to again put in my little 2 more digits on my zip code. And I would continue, and look what it says. It knows I've already registered, but would I like to cancel my reservation? And so then, or if you need to change your registration number, you can come cancel that previous registration and then go back and put in the correct registration that you're trying to use for that Sunday. Now, that wasn't a training session. Don't even expect you to remember all that. We will put some sort of documentation on the website for you so that you will know exactly how to register when the time is right. And I hope that there are no questions to that because it was a little fast, but again, that is not, I repeat, is not the training session for you to be able to do that right this second. If you'll bear with me for just 1 second, I'm trying to get my slide back up and I've lost it. So give me 1 quick second and we will keep going.
Kathy, you're doing a great job.
Oh, thank you. For some reason, I can't get off of this screen. So give me 1 more quick second. I've probably selected the wrong thing. Uh-oh, I seem to be stuck. Oh, can y'all see that?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so let me just see if I can work my way through back to where we were.
Yay.
Okay, there you go, Terry.
All righty. Now for some positive stuff. In Pastor Mike's recent Mosaic article, Living in Moments of Intensive Care, he points to the exhaustion and the frustration of this particular time we're living in. Here are some other things to focus on, ways to stay positive and also do some good. So number 1, you can call folks from our congregation to check on them. or check in with your neighbors who might be lonely. You can focus on your health and plan healthy meals or start a 10-minute workout routine. Or third, focus on your brain. Read White Fragility by Robin DiAngelo. The Education Committee and Social Justice Team will be sponsoring a book study on this look into why it's so hard for white people to talk about racism. JJ and I have already started it, and the ideas and concepts are quite compelling. Now, this next video is just to remind us to laugh. This is Tawny in her morning routine following her last bite of breakfast.
Two. Three. Four. Here's five. I think this might be the last time. Oh, six. One more check if it's full.
Tim, are there any questions for us?
So I don't see any questions in the live chat here. I think you just did such a thorough presentation that there are no questions. I think that's what's happened.
Okay. Harry, you're muted.
Thank you, Kathy. Yes, I was. As Kathy mentioned in the beginning, in Sunday's worship service, Betty Meacham and two beautiful children shared with us, and little Mac shared a little prayer with us that we wanted to close out this evening with for you. So please listen.
Let us pray. O God, give me clean hands, clean words, and clean thoughts. Save me from habits that harm. Teach me to work as hard and play as fair in thy sight alone, as if all the world saw. Forgive me when I am unkind, and help me to forgive those who are unkind to me. Keep me ready to help others at some cost to myself. Send me chances to do a little good every day, and so grow more in your image. Amen.
Amen.